But the thing that I've ranted about before, and I don't want to I don't want to keep ranting about this team, but they give me so many opportunities to do so. What the hell's going on in Denver, man? Like, I'm being, I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to keep doing this every single week where I sit here, look into the camera, and ask, what's going on in Denver? I don't want to keep doing this. Like, the cynical side of me loves it because it's like, haha, you had all these expectations, you paid all this money, you gave up all these assets for your quarterback, and you're still terrible. Like, a part of me laughs at it, but the other side of me is like, this team should not be this bad in any universe. So it doesn't make sense how, and like the thing is, like, you saw it all through the game. I had to go back and watch this. Like, usually I go back on Game Pass and or NFL Plus now, excuse me. It's basically Game Pass. But I usually go back and I just watch the condensed version of the game, which is usually like 35 to 45 minutes. But in this particular instance, I was like, you know what? I want to watch the full 3-hour game. Screw it. Why not? So I watched the full 3-hour game the following morning. And the boos, man. Every time, like, what was it, like, how many 3-and-out? Like, I think there was as many many points scored in the first quarter, like as many punts in the first quarter as there was points scored in the first half. It was some crazy like that, and I can't even count. Like, I don't even remember how many 3-and-outs there were in that game, but it was a lot. To the point where the crowd was and like, I saw a tweet on Twitter that was like, the Broncos have looked the same as they have for the past 6 years. Why is the crowd booing like this? I'll tell you straight up, because this was not like, you expect this kind of incompetency out of a Paxton Lynch quarterback offense. You expect this incompetency out of a Drew Lock led offense. You know, like, Trevor Siemian didn't look this particularly good. Paxton Lynch was terrible. Drew Lock was terrible. Teddy Bridgewater was meh. You expect that. The problem is, this was the team that wasn't supposed to be like those other teams. This was an offense that was actually that actually had expectations. That we just kept saying, like, like with Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy not producing, you're like, okay, well, the reason is because they don't have a quarterback, you know? They don't have a actual quarterback to be good. Well, they got that now, presumably. They got Russell Wilson. He's a future Hall of Famer, you know? Like, the guy that, you know, let Russ cook, put Seattle on the map, essentially, or helped put Seattle back on the map. He was the guy that was supposed to unlock this offense of like, all right, now they finally have a quarterback. And it's not only are they still stuck where they've been the past few years, they actually look worse. Like, Brandon Perna of That's Good Sports, one of my favorite YouTubers and diehard Broncos fan, he says, like, and he's went through Paxton Lynch, Drew Lock, etc. He's on record saying this is the worst offense he's ever seen. And this was the offense that had all the expectations coming into this year. And to be this bad, this incompetent, this poorly coached, this poorly managed, this poorly anything, like this, the team as a whole just sucks now. And the one consistent thing of their offense was Javonte Williams. He got injured last week against the Raiders. He's now out for the rest of the year. And now you don't have a single consistent thing on your offense. Jerry Jeudy can't catch a football to save his life. Russ looks broken. Like, everyone's talking about the 2 interceptions that were terrible. Like, what's kind of lost in all of it is that earlier in the game, he had a deep crosser to Jerry Jeudy, And every quarterback knows you got to lead him. You got to lead him closer to the sideline because that is a big gain. And if Jerry Jeudy's able to make a move one-on-one with the safety, he might even have a touchdown on it. Instead, Russ throws it straight down the field, and Jerry Jeudy has to, instead of just running straight to the sideline, has to run straight down the field, stop at a dime and run straight down the field. And thank God it didn't get picked off there. He should have had 3 interceptions on this game. It doesn't make sense. And obviously the 4th down play where KJ Hamler was by himself and Russ didn't even look in his direction because he was eyeing Courtland Sutton the entire time. And he tried to force it in him where it's like, if you just look, KJ Hamler's by himself. He beat his defender by 4 yards. He was by himself. And everyone was saying like, hey, KJ, don't show up your quarterback like that after the game where he was slamming his helmet and being pissed off. It's like, hey, don't show up your quarterback. Me, it's like, no, show him up because that shit. Russell Wilson, the top 10 quarterback in the NFL, Russell Wilson, he should at least make his, have the wherewithal to at least make his progressions instead of just eyeing, he had made his mind up that he was going to throw that ball to Courtland Sutton on that final play of the game come hell or high water. And I haven't even talked about the fact that why are you even passing on 4th and 1 in overtime anyway? I haven't even brought that up. Why are you even running the ball out of shotgun anyway? Which brings me to Nathaniel Hackett. He should be fired. And yes, I'm saying that now. I know it's only 5 games into his tenure, but he is clear as day, way over his head. He is in way over his head. And I've talked about Nathaniel Hackett a lot before, where he just looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. He looks like a scared child out there. So does Russ. Russ on the field looks like a scared child, and Nathaniel Hackett looks like a scared child as well. These both look like, and that's the saddest thing. The 2 guys that everyone was raving about coming into this year, the 2 big acquisitions, Nathaniel Hackett as head coach and Russell Wilson as quarterback, the 2 biggest names that they brought in are the 2 guys that are holding the team back. That's the saddest thing of all about this. Because you look at the defense, this is a playoff contending defense. This is a really damn good defense. And they're being wasted by 2 guys that you wouldn't think were going to be the ones that wasted this team. And, everyone's been saying, that the Denver Broncos basically traded 2 future first-round picks, 3 players, and gave $242 million, all for basically a "Let's Ride" slogan. And oh my God, I need to talk about the post-game press conference for Russell Wilson for a second. Because Russell Wilson has always been known as the nice, likable guy. All those years in Seattle where he's sort of you always heard the stories of his dad was sort of teach him how to do post-game press conferences and stuff like that. And you see it. You've seen it throughout his career where, he always has the right thing to say. He always delivers it in a robotic way. But no one ever mentioned, and always having a catchphrase at the end. For years in Seattle, it was "Go Hawks." Win or loss, he would always say "Go Hawks" at the end of it. And no one really mentioned anything about it because the Seahawks fans didn't really bring anything up on it because they drafted him, they developed him, he's been their quarterback for a decade. No one really brought it up. But when you're a new quarterback in a new city, a new team, and with a fan base that isn't familiar with you, and when they hear all offseason, Broncos country, let's ride, Broncos country, let's ride, and let Russ cook and all that stuff, with the expectations they had, which was Super Bowl forget playoffs, they had Super Bowl expectations, and they came into the year with all that stuff. And when you play a game like that, with an offense that has looked as bad consistently throughout the week, this offense has looked terrible through 5 games. terrible, and this was the worst of them all, in a game that should have been easily winnable, and you come in a post-game press conference looking that bad, and you end it with, thanks everybody, Broncos country, let's ride, as he's leaving the podium. When your fan base hears that, they want you out of town. That is the indication of them saying, get the hell out of our city. Because they're going to think, why are you saying that after that game? Why? Why are you saying that? It just comes off like a joke. Like, it comes off phony. It comes off forced. It comes off like he's taking it as a joke. Like, and that's really the definition of this team. This team is a walking joke. This Broncos team is a walking joke. More specifically, the offense is a walking joke. This was supposed to be the best offense they've had in years, and it looks like it's actually the worst offense they've had in years. And it's not even just based on the expectations. It's just objectively looking at it. Trevor Siemian had this team running better than how this team looks right now. Drew Lock has had performances where this offense has looked better than what it has right now. At least that offense was able to put up points under Drew Lock on occasion. This team can't even do that, it seems. Like, I don't know. I'm done talking about it. Please, for the love of God, like, I would not be shocked if it gets to the point where Nathaniel Hackett is fired in the middle of the season. But with Russ, they're stuck with him. And I don't know if he's going to be able to be fixed because like I said, he looks like a broken man. I don't know what happened to him, but something needs to give. Something needs to change. And for the life of me, I don't know what it is. It's, if you fire Nathaniel Hackett, it's like, well, you still have Russ, and is Russ going to look as bad as he has? I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to end it on that because this team just, I'm so sick of talking about it. I'm so sick of talking about them. And until they get it around, it feels like I'm going to continue to have to talk about them until they show me something that makes me not.